पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमस्ते वैष्णववृंद की जय। नामाचार्य दास ठाकुर जी की जय। श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। Good morning, dear devotees. This is Shivani from Western Virginia. Please forgive me for stopping your beautiful chanting. I welcome you all to Bhakti Sangha Japa conference call for this mid-morning session. Let us move to our next part of the session. Today's topic is going to be on Madhurya Kadambini, session 12, which will be given by Her Grace Kirtida Sundari Mataji. May I know who have joined this morning?
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga and all the assembled devotees. This is Yashamati Priya Devi Dasi from Chicago, and thank you Revati Mataji for very beautifully reciting chapter 9. Thanks.
Hare Krishna Yashamati Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru and Gauranga ki jai. Thank you for joining and giving a beautiful association, Mataji. Hope your health is better and you're feeling better. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandvat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is Neetu from Baltimore.
Hare Krishna Neetu Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru and Gauranga ki jai. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining and giving a beautiful association. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dhanvat Pranams, all glories to Srila Prabhupada and the assembled devotees. This is Revati from Atlanta, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Revati Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru and Gauranga ki jai. Thank you so much for joining and giving a beautiful association. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Sorry, Mataji, go ahead.
Go ahead, Radhe.
Hare Krishna Vinda Gopika Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru and Gauranga ki jai. Thank you, Mataji, for joining and giving a beautiful association today. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandvat Pranam to you and Kirtida Sundari Mataji and all Vaishnava, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev ki jai.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Once again, I welcome you all for this mid-morning session. I would like to start by sharing a quote by Srila Prabhupada ji. Devotional service must continue under all circumstances. This material body is actually a bad bargain because it is prone to suffer, but we must make the best use of the bad bargain. That means to always be engaged in the service of Krishna without fail. Letter to Vishnu, April 19, 1975, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Good morning, dear devotees. I welcome you all to Bhakti Sangha Japa conference call. Today we are very fortunate to have Her Grace Kirtida Sundari Mataji. Mataji will be enlightening us on the topic of Madhurya Kadambini, session 12. Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances, Kirtida Sundari Mataji. Thank you for giving your valuable time and beautiful association this morning. Looking forward to hearing from you, Mataji. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru and Gauranga ki jai. Please take over the call, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Shivani Mataji. Thank you so much for your very, very warm welcome. Thank you for introducing everybody. Thank you, Revati Mataji, for your beautiful chanting of the 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Thank you, everyone, for joining us, for your very, very kind association. Always look forward to have your association. Thank you so much. So we will start our session on Madhurya Kadambini, and we'll seek prayers from our acharyas. We'll chant Mangalacharan and then we'll move forward. Om Ajnanaatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakham Vitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Murishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. पंचतत्वात्मकं कृष्ण भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकं वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। गुरुवे गौरचंद्राय राधिकाय तदालय कृष्णाय कृष्ण भक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः। आनंद लीलामय विग्रहाय हेमाभदिव्य छवि सुंदराय तस्मै महाप्रेम रस प्रदाय चैतन्य चंद्राय नमो नमस्ते। चैतन्य चंद्राय नमो नमस्ते। चैतन्य चंद्राय नमो नमस्ते। मुखं करोति वाचालं भङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपः तमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्येश्वरम्। So we'll chant the Mangalacharan for Madhurya Kadambini. Ridvaprenav bhaktishasya vitate sanjeevani swagama ऋत्वप्रेणव भक्तिशस्य विदधे संजीवनी स्वगमा रम्बे कामतपर्तुदाहदमनी विश्वपगोलासिनी दूरन्मे मरुशाखिनोऽपि सरसि भावाय भूयात् प्रभु। श्री चैतन्य कृपा निरंकुशमहा माधुर्य कादम्बिनी। Anybody wants to recite? Okay, always Vasundhara.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Mataji.
Okay. Thanks, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Dandavat pranams to you. Hridvaprenava bhakti shasya vitate sanjeevani swagama rambhe kamatapardudahadamani विश्वापगोलासिनी दूरान् मे मरुशाखिनोऽपि सरसि भावाय भूयात् प्रभु। श्रीचैतन्यकृपानिरङ्कुशमहा माधुर्य कादम्बिनी। हरे कृष्ण माताजी।
Thank you so much, Vasundhara Mataji. Thank you. Thank you everyone for joining us. Please shower all your heartfelt blessings so that I can speak something relevant to this subject matter as the message is conveyed by our dear Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur Prabhupada. So please bless me. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhu bhayevacha patitanam vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Anant Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. All the assembled Vaishnavas ki jai. So we have completed the third shower of nectar, the third vrishti of Madhurya Kadambini was completed last Friday. And now we are on the fourth shower of nectar, which is flow of ambrosia, that is Nishta. So we covered Shraddha, First of all, we covered the preeminence of Bhakti, how Bhakti is independent and self-manifested. Then we discussed about Shraddha. Then we discussed about Bhajana Kriya. Then we discussed about Sadhu Sangha. Sorry, first was Shraddha, then Sadhu Sangha, then Bhajana Kriya, and then we completed Anartha Nivritti. So, when we completed Anartha Nivritti, we saw many things, but we also saw that this Anarthas, the Nivritti of these Anarthas, means the delineation of the impediments that are caused by these Anarthas on the path of Bhakti doesn't go at a particular stage. Rather, it starts from Bhajan Kriya itself. After Shraddha, when one engages oneself in Bhajan Kriya, the Anarthas starts eliminating, and it goes to the level of Prema. Even we saw that till Prema, there are some Anarthas that are still there. Okay, or if not, then at least there is a tendency for the Anarthas to come back. Okay, so we saw that. So Anartha Nivritti, though it has been mentioned as a stage, but actually it's not a stage. Okay, it starts from Bhajana Kriya itself and it goes on till Prema. But we have discussed in complete detail about what the Anarthas are, what is the difference, first of all, between Pap and offense, and then we discussed Anarthas like Sukritanarthas, Dushkritanarthas, Aparadhanarthas, and Bhaktiutanarthas. So we have discussed all of them in detail. And then we made a conclusion. We came up with the conclusion along with Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur that these Anarthas go on lingering. Okay, they never stop at a particular stage. And having those Anarthas, still one can come and cross the one level after another. Means even if we have some Anarthas, we can still come onto the level of Nishta, then Ruchi, then Asakti, then Rati or Bhava, and then Prema. So in the fourth shower of nectar, before beginning, I would like to do a small recap about the Bhajana Kriya. Remember, we did Bhajana Kriya. So when we did Bhajana Kriya, we talked about two things, Anishtita Bhajan Kriya and Nishtita Bhajan Kriya. So in Anishtita Bhajan Kriya, we saw 6 divisions, Utsahamai, Ghanatarala, Vyuda Vikalpa, Vishaya Sanghara, Niyamakshana, and Taranga Sangrangini. So these are the 6 things that comes in our Anishtita Bhajan Kriya. So in Bhajan Kriya, there were 2, Anishtita and Nishtita Bhajan Kriya. But there, the author didn't talk anything about Nishtita Bhajan Kriya, except one sentence that there is normally no fall down or no slackening when one comes on the level of Nishtita Bhajan Kriya. So when he talked previously about these 2 kinds of Bhajan Kriya, Anishtita and Nishtita Bhajan Kriya, he talked in detail about Anishtita Bhajan Kriya, but he didn't say anything much about Nishtita Bhajan Kriya. Rather, what he did is that he started describing about Anartha Nivritti. Okay, so that is actually a stage. So what I will do, I will right now stop my screen here and I will share you another screen. Please excuse me from jumping from one scene to another, but it's important to know. Okay, so what now I will share that why the author talked about Anishtita Bhajan Kriya, didn't talk much about Nishtita Bhajan Kriya, rather went straight on Anartha Nivritti, taking Anartha Nivritti as the stage. Because Srila Rupa Goswami says, right, Atha, Shraddha, Bhajan Kriya, Sadhu Sangha, Anartha Nivritti, and then comes Nishtha. So he brings Anartha Nivritti as a stage. Though this Anartha Nivritti starts from Bhajan Kriya itself, but still he brings it to the stage. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur also wants to follow his spiritual master. And while talking about bhajan kriya, he didn't mention anything about nishtita bhajan kriya. He just talked about anishtita bhajan kriya. And then he moved from sadhu sangha, then he went to anartha nivritti. So these are the stage are actually mentioned by our acharyas in Srimad Bhagavatam. So just see, this is from first canto, second chapter, right? From the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, the second chapter, from 16 to 22 describe this bhakti progress. And what is that bhakti process? That it starts with satam kripa. Then it does mahat seva. Then Shraddha develops. After Shraddha, what happens? One engages oneself in bhajana kriya, in sadhu sangha, and then bhajana kriya. So in sadhu sangha, what happens? One take Guru Pada Ashraya. And then one take Guru Pada Ashraya, then one start engaging oneself in some bhajan. That means this bhajan kriya starts after Shraddha, after sadhu sangha. And there he quotes this verse, Shrunvatam Swakatha Krishna, Punya Shravana Kirtanam Hridyantyasto Bhadrani Vidhanoti Suritsatam. What does it mean? That one engages in bhajan kriya. What does one do in bhajan kriya? Shrunvatam Swakatha Krishna. One tries to hear what? Katha of Krishna, which is very punya, which is very virtue to hear. It is Punya Shravana Kirtana. He engages himself in Kirtana. Then what happens? Slowly, Hridayantyastu Bhadrani. All it cleanses the heart of the sadhaka of all the material desires. Vidhanoti Srutsitam. And Krishna himself. It says, I'm sharing the Subodhani. I'm not sharing the verse actually, because here crystal clear this bhakti progress has been mentioned. So he says, Krishna then cleanses the heart of the hearer. So that means Krishna, first of all, takes the position in the heart of a devotee and he starts himself this cleansing process. And then what happens? Then he mentions the next is Anartha Nivritti. Nashtiprayeshu Abhadreshu. So all the Anarthas, all the inauspiciousness gets destroyed. Nashta prayeshu abhadreshu. All the inauspiciousness get destroyed. Now see, what is the stage? The stage is anartha nivritti. After bhajana kriya, in anartha nivritti, all the auspiciousness gets destroyed. That means the cleansing process has started in bhajan kriya itself. And how does it get cleansed? Nityam Bhagavata Seva. When one does service nityam, daily, to whom? To Bhagavat. Now there Prabhupada mentions that Bhagavat can be of two types, book Bhagavat and a person Bhagavat. So any Bhagavat, if we do nitya seva, then all the inauspiciousness is destroyed. Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. And then one regularly it destroys all the anarthas and naishtiki, bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. That means nishtita bhakti then comes into picture. So after anartha nivritti, it's not immediately nishtha, but after anartha nivritti, nishtita bhajan comes into picture. Okay. Then he says, Nashta prayeshu abhadreshu. Right? He doesn't say all the auspiciousness. Inauspiciousness get destroyed. Nashta prayeshu means the anarthas are almost complete. Not 100% complete, but almost they are gone, all the anarthas. That means a good amount of anarthas is still left over. And that gets destroyed when this anishtita bhajan kriya gets converted into nishtita bhajan kriya, which leads to nishtha. Okay. This is a very important point that we have to understand. Yes, the normal criteria, the categorization is Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajan Kriya, Anartha Nivritti, Then comes Nishta, Ruchi, Asakti, Bhava, and Prema. But in a technical term, we have to understand, because we are sadhakas, right? We have to go over all these processes. This is for us. So for us, we should be very clear that actually what happens is, yes, Shraddha is there. Then through Sadhu Sangha, taking Guru Padashra, when we get involved in bhajan kriya process, first there is anishtita bhajan kriya. And after that, there are some anarthas that are get destroyed. Because even if it is anishtita bhajan kriya, but because we are doing Shunvatam Swakatha Krishna, because we are doing that process of hearing and chanting Krishna's name, anarthas are getting destroyed. And nashta prayeshu abhadreshu, all the inauspiciousness are almost gone. And then what happens? One fixes himself. Bhagavat abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. Naishtiki means that which is anishtha, now nishtita bhajan comes into picture. So after Anartha Nivriti, what happens? That anishtita bhajan kriya, that anishtita bhajan kriya gets converted into nishtita bhajan kriya, which then further leads to Nishta. Okay. So this is the commentary by Srila Jiva Goswami on these verses, where he clearly mentions about these different stages. Coming back to our presentation. So this was where we were. So in this bhajan kriya process, these things were discussed. And now in Anartha Nivriti, see, we saw that even in bhajan kriya, the partial annihilation of anarthas happen. But in Nishtha, also these are complete. But here, see, in bhajan kriya, they are almost complete. But still, there is remaining. What is remaining? Bhaktiutanarthas and aparadhanarthas are still remaining. Even on the level of Nishtha, the aparadhanarthas are still only 75% eradicated. Still, they are there. Okay. So this we have to understand that this goes on to the level of Prema. In Prema, all the others are almost 100% gone, more than 100%. It's almost gone. It will never come. What will never come? Bhaktiutanarthas and Dushkritanarthas and Sukritanarthas will never come back. But then, what is 100% complete is aparadhanarthas. But even on the level of Prema, it is only complete. It is not absolute. It is only complete. Complete means the tendency of coming back is still possible. All these things are absolute. All these anarthas are absolute when one attains Bhagavan's association. Please keep this graph always in your mind when we are talking about these different levels of bhakti. Now coming back to our real topic of today's, that is Nishtita Bhajan Kriya, which will lead to Nishtha. Okay, this has to be very, very clear. That's why I spent some time that we have to understand that this Nishtha doesn't come immediately. There is a Nishtita Bhajan Kriya, then that leads to Nishtha. Okay. So now someone can say that, okay, we are from Anishtita Bhajan Kriya to Nishtita Bhajan Kriya. There is some steadiness. Nishtha means steadiness. So we are in the Nishtita Bhajan Kriya. We are doing Nishtita Bhakti. But still we do not succeed in our process of Nishtha. Why? Because there are some obstacles to it. Okay. So why there are 5 obstacles? There are 5 types of obstacles that Vishwanath Chakravarti describes. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur describes. Now someone can say, well, almost every inauspiciousness has gone in the level of bhajan kriya and anartha nivritti. But still, why when somebody is determined to follow that nishtita bhajan kriya, then why some obstacle comes? The answer is because there is still the tinge of lust and greed that is there in the heart. Okay. And moreover, the sadhaka is always under the modes. So yes, some anarthas, dushkritanarthas, sukritanarthas are destroyed. Other anarthas are also getting in the process of, they are in the process of getting destructed. But because we are in the modes, sometimes the modes also act on the sadhaka. Okay, that means sometimes the sadhaka find himself or herself in mode of ignorance and passion, because of which some anarthas sprout up again and doesn't let the sadhaka to situate themselves in nishtita bhajan kriya. So before coming from there is a between process from anishtita to nishtita bhajan kriya. There is a process, and because of which there are some obstacles that come. What are those obstacles that we will see? First is laya. This means increasing drowsiness that comes while hearing, chanting, and remembering. And it arises from tamogun, because the sadhaka sometimes finds himself situated in tamogun and he gets deprived of relishing the devotional mellows. So this is sometimes we when fall asleep while hearing Krishna Katha, while hearing Srimad Bhagavatam session, or while chanting. And especially this laya acts when one starts the process of smaranam. When we start remembering, at that time, this sleep, this tendency to fall asleep arises most. And it becomes one of the anartha to stop oneself from performing nishtita bhajan kriya. Okay. Next is vikshepa. Vikshepa is when mundane, ordinary topics commingle with hearing, chanting, remembering, and so on. It is called vikshepa. And this is an effect of a sadhaka who is in rajagun, who is in the mode of passion. So what exactly means? That when we are hearing, chanting, and remembering, there is a touch of material talks. Some gossip comes in between, and that deviates our flickering mind, because the mind is not 100% stable. Yes, we are trying to make it stable by hearing and chanting, but sometimes when a phone call comes, or some person comes, some devotee comes, or some email comes, or some WhatsApp message comes, something that comes and we give attention to that, and that leads to gossip. So that will what happen? It will deviate our mind. And then we'll find ourselves completely absorbed on those mundane talks, and what we were doing before, that is some devotional activity of chanting, hearing, and remembering, it's all gone. Right? So gossiping starts and our mind gets deviated towards that track. And the remembrance of the Lord's pastimes, its qualities, they all get deviated. And this is because we are in the mode of passion. We want to hear what next, what is happening around the world. We want to get into it. Okay. So this is because of the mode of passion. Now, third is apratipatti. Apratipatti means even if the first two obstacles, that is laya and vikshepa, is no longer there, still we will see that our mind is not capable enough to be concentrated on hearing and chanting. This obstacle is known as apratipatti, or failure in remembering the Supreme Lord or chanting or hearing about the Supreme Lord. This is also from arises from tamoguna, because this means there is a lack of enthusiasm. There is no sleepiness, no drowsiness. There is no intervention of a foreign thing to disturb us, to talk or gossip anything. There is nothing. There is no laya, there is no vikshepa. But from inside only, we are not feeling enthusiastic to remember or hear Krishna's holy names, or to hear Bhagavad Katha, or to hear anything related to devotional service. So when that appears, it creates lethargy in bhajan. It creates laziness in bhajan. And it is also because of tamoguna. That is, due to ignorance, there is a lack of enthusiasm, which prohibits us to perform nishtita bhajan kriya. Then comes kashaya. Kashaya means some previous impression of anger is there, greed is there, conceit is there in one's practice of hearing, chanting, and remembering. This is called kashaya. This is the effect of rajogun. Means a slight provocation is there and we become super duper angry. We become super duper angry within just a slight provocation of something. Instead of pressing the pause button, instead of responding to the situation, we start reacting on the situation, because at that time we are in the mode of ignorance. So this will also stop our nishtita bhajan kriya. Or sometimes there is a greed of relishing some sweet, relishing some palatable food, some tasteful preparation, or greed for wealth. Or there is some false ego of me, my mind, of aham and mamata, of my body and possession. There are these things that arise especially during the remembrance of the Lord. And because we are in the mode of passion, this kashaya also comes and prohibits us to perform nishtita bhajan kriya. Last is rasavad. Rasaswad means non-absorption of one's mind in devotional practices. The mind cannot experience material pleasure and simultaneously be absorbed. You cannot cross the river while keeping your 2 foot on 2 different boats. You have to be on one boat, only then you will be able to cross. So when the mind is on 2 things, wants to enjoy material possession also, at the same time want to be absorbed in chanting and hearing, that is not possible. When that thing happens, that means there is some deviation of mind in getting absorbed in Krishna Katha. And that is rasa aswad, means ras ka swad na le pana, not getting taste in chanting Krishna's holy name. Thus, on account of mind's absorption in material enjoyment, it cannot be absorbed in bhajan. This is called this is also an effect of rajogun. So these obstacles comes because of tamogun, rajogun, or having a tinge of lust and greed still remaining in the heart. Okay. So all these things, these obstacles, they prohibit us to jump from anishtita bhajan kriya to nishtita bhajan kriya. We are trying to jump. We are coming on to the level of nishtita. We are trying our level best. But again, because we are in this mode of ignorance and passion, or sometimes under lust and greed, these obstacles come and prohibit us to perform nishtita bhajan kriya. Okay, so this is what Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains. Now comes the point, okay, so if somehow we cross over these obstacles, then this will lead to Nishta. this bhajan kriya, this naishtiki bhajan kriya, this nishtita bhajan kriya will lead to nishtha. Okay, so it's very important to understand the difference between the two stages, bhajan kriya and nishtha. So bhajan kriya, anishtita bhajan kriya, trying to make it as nishtita bhajan kriya, and when one perfects in nishtita bhajan kriya, when all the obstacles are removed, then one comes to the level of nishtha. Okay. So nishtha means complete absorption or complete steadiness, not absorption, sorry, but steadiness in performing one's devotional service. That is what is nishtha. Now, this nishtha is also of two types. So Jiva Goswami Prabhupada, he says, constant devotion without any distraction. There is no laya, there is no vikshepa, there is no other distractions, and there is a constant devotion. There is a constant flow of devotion towards the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord without any distraction, and then one can find oneself situated in this particular point, that is nishtha. This nishtha is also of two types. It's not easy. Okay. First is Sakshad Bhakti Vartini Nishtha. What is that Sakshad Bhakti Vartini Nishtha? Sakshad Bhakti Vartini Nishtha means one's mind fixed determination related to bhakti itself. Okay. When one's mind is completely fixed. Vartini means to rest in. Okay. So when nishtha, rest in, directly in the process of bhakti. Sakshad Bhakti Vartini Nishtha. When our determination is completely fixed in or rest in bhakti, Sakshad Bhakti means directly to bhakti. That is known as Sakshad Vartini, Sakshad Bhakti Vartini Nishtha. Now, what does it mean? Means completely getting fixed in bhakti itself. What does it mean? So, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that there are three types of them, of Vartini, of Sakshad Bhakti Vartini Nishtha. It can be related to one's body, which is known as Kayiki Nishtha. Okay, don't get confused. It's just the understanding. Okay. Nishtha, we have reached Nishtha. We have come to the level of Nishtha. We are having the steadiness in devotion of the Supreme Lord, and we are not inclined towards any kind of distraction. But this nishtha is also of two types, that whether our steadiness is towards bhakti or, which is the next one, which will come. So if our steadiness is towards bhakti, towards sakshad bhakti, then it is known as sakshad bhakti vartini nishtha. And these are of three types, kayaki, then vachiki, and then manasa. Three means through our body, vachiki means through our words, and manasi means mental. So bodily nishtha. What is bodily nishtha? Bodily nishtha is fixed determination which is related to body. Like hearing Sri Bhagavad Katha. We are hearing through our senses, through our ears. Serving the tulsi plant, the picking up her leaves, making flower garlands for Bhagavan, worshipping the deity, offering obeisances to the deity, circumambulating the deity or a holy place, and cleansing the temple of Bhagavan. All these activities we are doing through our body. And when we are determined for, or we are having that steadiness in performing these activities, through our body, it is known as Sakshad Bhakti Vartini Nishtha, but falls under the category of Kayiki Nishtha. Now comes Vachiki Nishtha. See, this Bhakti Vartini Nishtha can be three types, right? Kayiki we discussed. Vachiki Nishtha is when we are fixed, having fixed determination related to speech. kirtans, doing kirtans of the name, form, qualities, and pastimes of Bhagavan. So we are doing through which? Through our speech, through our tongue, through our mouth, vachik, offering prayers to the Supreme Lord, revealing one's mind through prayerful entreaty, glorifying Bhagavan by reciting various verses from Srimad Bhagavatam and reciting narrations about him. So when we are fixed, when we have other steadiness in doing this, then we know that we are under the category of Sakshat Bhakti Vardhini Nishta, under the subcategory of Vachiki Nishta. Third is mental, that means remembering, contemplating, remembering the names, forms, qualities, and pastimes of Sri Bhagavan. This constitutes Manasi Nishta. Okay. So all these is, who is the object? The object is the practice of devotional service. Because we are related directly to bhakti. That is the process. Now that can be done by body, vachik, and manasik. But the determination is completely fixed in bhakti itself. So that is known as Sakshat Bhakti Vardhini Nishta. I hope it is clear. Next comes, so here it says that unflinching faith or steadiness in these angas of bhakti is to have fixed determination related directly to bhakti herself. Next comes Tad Anukula Vastu Vardhini Nishta. Okay. Previously it was Sakshat Bhakti Vardhini Nishta. Now it is Tad Anukula Vastu Vardhini Nishta. What does it mean? Vardhini means to rest in. So when our Nishtha is resting, when our Nishtha, our determination is resting in some Vastu, in some things which is favorable to bhakti. Okay, it's not directly to bhakti, but when our determination is resting in the qualities that are favorable to bhakti, that is known as Tad Anukula Vastu Vardhini Nishtha. What does it mean? Means qualities. Okay, this is qualities, Vastu. That means not desiring respect, being respectful to others, friendliness, compassion for living entities, mercifulness, forgiveness, gratefulness, patience, etc. All these qualities, tolerance, all these qualities by which bhakti becomes free from obstacles and firmly established within the heart of the sadhaka. These are all qualities. So when somebody is fixed on this, that is known as Tad Anukula Vastu Vardhini Nishta. For those, Chakravarti Pad, he mentions this line, so I just included, that for those who cannot forgive the faults of others, praying to God for their own forgiveness is nothing but imitation. So that means one should have all these qualities also in order to establish oneself in the process of Nishtha. Okay. So that means these qualities are important. But our Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, of all these qualities, first of all, he mentions that of all these qualities, the quality of gratitude, that is Kirtida, is especially favorable for bhakti. For bhakti, Devi does not appear in an ungrateful heart. To whatever extent a person has become truly elevated, gratitude will be found residing in her heart. Okay. To the extent we are grateful, to the extent we are eligible to be in the process of bhakti. So we should be very, very grateful. Of all these qualities, he says this kritagnata is very important. Now, someone can say, well, these qualities can be seen in the heart of even the devotees who are self-controlled. Some are naturally humble. Okay. Some people are naturally humble. They may not be a devotee. They don't know anything about Trinadapi Sunitena. but naturally having that nature, they are humble, or they are tolerant, or they don't get provocated, or they don't immediately react on those situations, because naturally they are born with that instinct, or they have this power of self-control. So therefore, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is warning us that these attributes are seen in self-controlled devotees also, who are yet not stable in their devotion. So one must understand that when we see intense effort and enthusiasm in hearing and chanting, this indicates Nishtita Bhakti. And when we see slackens in devotion, this indicates Anishtita Bhakti. Okay, it's Bhakti. So these attributes are seen in self-controlled devotees also. So this is another important point that Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur wants to mention. Okay. That these attributes are seen in self-controlled devotees who are yet not stable in devotion. So that means if someone is having sakshat, that means if someone is having this sakshat bhakti vartini nishta, that is directly related to bhakti through one's body, through one's speech, and through one's mind. Okay, but there is another type which is not directly to bhakti, but it is related to the qualities that are favorable to bhakti, which is also very important to appear in the heart of a sadhaka. But it is not necessary that those qualities are seen only in the sadhaka who are on the level of Nishtha. They can be seen in the heart of self-controlled devotees also. So therefore, what is the best criteria to know that the person is on the level of Nishtha or not? The best is that if somebody have intense effort and enthusiasm in hearing. Okay. When somebody has intense effort and enthusiasm in hearing and chanting, this indicates Nishtita Bhakti. And when somebody slackens, when somebody doesn't have that enthusiasm in hearing and chanting, then that means he is still on the level of Anishtita Bhakti. Hope it is clear. I want this to be exactly understood as given by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Because after Anartha Nivritti, I know we have spent a lot of time on Anartha Nivritti, but after Anartha Nivritti, especially these three stages, that is Nishtha, Ruchi, and Asakti, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has not described in detail. So these three vrishtis, these three showers in Madhurya Kadambini have been quickly covered by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, very quickly. But I tried very level best to pick up some examples and to get into what Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is trying to explain. So this is what our fourth shower of nectar, and we end here. How bhajana kriya from anishtita, we come to the level of nishtita. From nishtita, it leads to nishtha. And nishtha are of two types, sakshat bhakti if somebody is having, or tad anukula vastuvartini. They are two types of nishtha. But the point is, to understand that someone is on the level of Nishtha is when somebody have the enthusiasm in hearing and chanting, then that means there is Nishtha. But if that is not there, then that means Anishtita Bhakti. But having these qualities is also important. But just having these qualities and not having enthusiasm in hearing and chanting doesn't define someone to be on the level of Nishtha. Okay, let's continue. Now we come to the fifth shower of nectar. Don't think that I am racing these showers. No, it's only Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. As much as material he can give, I can speak only on that material. I cannot go beyond his process, what he has given. Okay, so he has described other showers extensively. So we have spent more time on that. But from here onwards, till Rati, till Bhava, he just, till actually Asakti, he just gives a synopsis of these different stages. So we will go with the flow of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur Prabhupada. So there, after Nishtha, he says the fifth shower of nectar, which is Ruchi, realization of transcendental state. So there he leads to the fifth shower. Now, in the fourth shower, when he says that Nishtha in bhajan was described, then comes the fifth shower, that is Ruchi. Means one gradually develops taste. So once steadiness and determination is there, then what happened? Now the taste comes. A simple example. In the starting, what we say, I have to chant. I have to chant my rounds. I haven't completed my rounds. I have to chant my rounds. Because there the determination is that I have to do the fixed number of rounds. Now, when we start doing and have that complete determination, slowly and gradually we develop taste in chanting. And that is what Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying. You come on to the level of ruchi, having taste in realizing Krishna's form, qualities, and pastimes, and of course, having taste in describing about bhaktas, about Krishna's devotees. So that is what is ruchi. Okay. So the fifth shower he described is ruchi. What is ruchi? Here also he mentions. Jiva Goswami Prabhupada, in commentary to Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, he mentions Ruchir Abhilashaha Kintu Buddhi Purvakam. What does it mean? It means Ruchi is understood to mean a desire to attain Krishna. Ruchi Abhilashaha. There is a desire. Desire of what? To attain Krishna and his service. Kintu, but Buddhi Purvakam means one when is guided by one's intelligence. So what does it mean? That here, when one comes on to the level of ruchi, the desire is there to serve Krishna, but that desire appears intentionally, means with conscious effort. Okay, means with conscious effort, a sadhaka puts into and gets the taste of attaining Krishna or serving Krishna. That desire is intentionally. It is buddhi purvakam. Through one's intelligence, one sadhaka comes to that level that no, I have to develop taste in hearing Krishna Katha. And that is what is ruchi. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, when he wants to comment on this, he says, Ruchir Abhilashaha means desire to attain Krishna and his service. But he says that actually there are three types of Abhilasha. What are those Abhilasha? First is Anukulya Abhilasha. Anukulya Abhilasha means a deep yearning to do what is favorable to Lord Shri Krishna. Something we want to do which is pleasing to Lord Krishna. The desire to serve him favorably is what is Anukulya Abhilasha. Next comes Sauhardya Abhilasha, means to serve him with intimacy, means having a desire to establish the relationship with Krishna. And the third is Prapti Abhilasha, which means a deep yearning to attain Krishna himself. Okay, so these three desires, all these three desires, no matter any desire we have, if we have that desire to serve, then that is the platform of having ruchi. Okay, this desire itself becomes the platform of the stage of ruchi. But it is buddhi purvakam. It is intentionally done. It is done with our conscious effort. Okay. When that is done, then that is known as ruchi. Now, what happens? So when ruchi awakens, when the ruchi is awakened in our heart, then what happens? One never gets tired of repeated hearing and chanting, because ruchi creates a strong attachment, a strong taste to hear and chant Krishna's name and to be with the devotees. And then what happened in this stage? In this stage, the time the topics of the Lord are not discussed, we feel that it is useless. Our time has been wasted. The sadhaka gets that strong feeling that if some time has gone without discussing Krishna Katha or without remembering or chanting Krishna's name, then the sadhaka feels that it is totally useless. And this is known as Madhurya Anubhav, having that Anubhav of Madhurya. So Jiva Goswami, he writes his commentary on Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu and says, Ruchi Papa Bija Nashad Bhakto Madhurya Anubhava. But Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, when gives the commentary, he says that one realizes the sweetness in devotion. That sweetness of devotion is there, which means relishing the taste of Krishna's form, qualities, and pastimes. Thus, one does not feel bored during chanting and hearing Krishna Katha. Why to say just not feeling bored? Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that the person forget about feeling bored. Rather, if some time has passed in which Krishna Katha has not been discussed, that sadhaka feels that it is totally useless. So that Madhurya Anubhav starts developing in the heart. Here, Madhurya doesn't mean the rasa, the Madhurya rasa, like we have Shanta rasa, Dasya rasa, Vatsalya rasa, Sakhya rasa, and Madhurya rasa. Here, Madhurya Anubhav means the sweetness of Krishna's name, pastimes, his lila, his form, start developing in the heart of a sadhaka. He gets that Anubhav. He gets those realization. Okay. Now, someone can say, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur himself brings up this point, that someone can say, well, immediately while practicing bhajan, immediately that taste doesn't come. Right? When we are doing some practices of devotion, immediately or in few years, that taste won't come. So how to bring that taste? How to fix ourselves from Nishta to Ruchi? How to, first, yes, we have to be determined. Okay, understood. But then how to get that taste? How will we get the taste? Then Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur himself gives the solution. And he says that, gives an example, gives an analogy, that those tongues that are affected by jaundice, can they taste the sweetness of a rock candy? No, they cannot taste. Why? Because the tongue is infected with the disease known as jaundice. But then what is, so the same rock candy, which is very sweet, will taste bitter. So naturally that sweetness will not come on its own. The holy names are very sweet. Krishna's katha, Krishna's form, Krishna's qualities, it's very sweet. But how many of us are able to taste it? Even though we are determined in hearing, we don't feel the taste. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying that you will get the taste when your tongue is not infected with jaundice. Because in jaundice, the rock candy, which is the most sweetest, tastes bitter. But then what is the medicine? The doctors say the best medicine is to constantly eat the rock candy. And the more you eat, the more you will get the sweetness of that rock candy, because slowly the disease of jaundice will go away. Similarly, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that right now our heart is not crystal clear. It's not complete clear. It still has some kinds of faults of ignorance, faults of conceit, faults of passion, faults of attachment, faults of matsara, of hatredness. So many faults are still there. It's not 100% clear. So naturally, the state or the taste of Krishna's sweetness is not experienced. But the solution is keep doing it. Keep eating rock sugar, candy. Keep eating. Keep chanting Krishna's holy name. Let your mind keep dwelling on Krishna's pastimes. Because the more you do it, the more you will be purified, and then you will be able to relish the sweetness in Krishna's holy name and chanting and doing all other services. So this is the solution that Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur himself gives. So you situate yourself and understand the sweetness. Okay. So now he takes a pause. That you have understand and you have some sadhaka has come on the level of ruchi. Now remember, anarthas are in the process of getting destroyed. Remember that graph. Anarthas are in the process of getting destroyed. So that means this hatred, this conceit, this ignorance, this passion, all are getting gradually destroyed by us when we keep doing the process of devotional service and don't feel any interruption, don't get any interruption in performing devotional service. When we do it, ahitukiyan apratihata, when we do it constantly, then we start developing taste. But then Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that this ruchi is also of two types. The first he says is vastu vashishtata apekshani. Apeksha means having an expectation. Expectation of vashishtata. Vishishtata means when vastu vishishtata apekshani means when we have an expectation, when our expectation is filled with or is endowed with some kind of vastu. Okay, that is known as vastu vashishta apekshani. When we have an expectation, which expectation is vashishtata. Vashishtata means it is filled with, it is endowed with. Our expectation is endowed with on some things, on some vastu. That is known as vastu vashishtata apekshani. So here the example that Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives is that I will get taste. I will get taste in hearing Krishna Katha only if I hear that X speaker. I'm not naming X speaker. If I hear, only then I will be able to attain some taste in hearing Krishna Katha. Okay, why? Because that X speaker is an eloquent speaker. He has a full command on, he or she has a full command on the language or is very expert in delivering the message. Only then I will, when I hear such a person, only then I will get a taste in hearing. I will get taste in Kirtan if X person only sings, because that person sings with some wonderful melodies, with wonderful tunes, with wonderful swaras, only then I will be able to taste it. I will be able to taste that some poems of Krishna Katha because that poet has a poetic embellishments in it. That sweet suggestions, that narrator is so expert, only then I can. I can relish some pujari doing deity worship only when such a pujari does, because that pujari does with so much of faith and with so much of exquisite paraphernalia that pujari uses. The flowers he or she picks, I love that. Only then I can develop some taste in deity worship. I'll develop taste in seeing the form of the deity only when such as such pujari dresses. Otherwise, it's simple, it's okay. Because that pujari dresses in a very beautiful way, only then I can relish. All these examples are Vastu Vashishta Apekshani. We are having an expectation, we are putting a clause in it. I will find a taste, I will find sweetness, but there is a whole list. So there is an expectation. Only then I can enjoy. So here Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, this Vastu Vashishta Apekshani means having a poor appetite. If somebody comes to your home and is not hungry, is not having a good appetite, then even if you serve anything, like if you serve dal, rice, that person will not relish because he doesn't have appetite. You still want to serve, then what that person is looking, maybe if this host can give me some sweet or some savory, I can munch on. Right? Because he's not having a full appetite, he cannot enjoy what you are giving or what you are serving. That devotee needs a particular thing only to feel some kind of enjoyment because he is not hungry. So somebody with a poor appetite cannot relish all the wonderful vegetables you can serve because he is looking for something special so that he can get some enjoyment. And that is the biggest fault in the mind of a sadhaka. That is the fault in the mind of a sadhaka, to have that kind of ruchi which is dependent on something, on some vastu. And then he says there is a higher degree of it, that is vastu vishishtata anapekshani, means having no dependent on the external excellence of an object. I will relish Krishna Katha no matter whosoever speaks, because I am not looking for the language, I am not looking the way the message is delivered, I am not looking for the expertise, but I am looking for the relishment that I should get after hearing Krishna Katha. In the second type of ruchi, a person is not dependent on those small things because he is looking for Krishna's holy name. He is looking for Krishna's katha. He is looking for Krishna's kirtan. Anybody can sing Krishna kirtan, even if that person is not singing in a proper tune. So what? I'm not here to hear the proper swaras or tunes or the melody, but I'm here to understand the bhav or the sentiment or the love that a person has with which that person is singing Krishna Kirtan. So this means in this kind of ruchi, there is no dependence on any kind of things, whether it's a nice tune, whether it is a rhythm, or it is any kind of expertise a person may possess. So there in this, that means even if you serve such a person with rice dal, with simple rice dal roti or sabzi, the person will relish. He is not looking something special because he is fully hungry for Krishna's name. A person who is having a great appetite can eat anything, whatever you give. But Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that if some vastu is also added in this, though there is no apeksha, though there is no expectation, but if something is added in this, it enhances the sweetness of the Lord. For example, a person who doesn't know, I'm just taking one example because this relates to me. If a person doesn't know singing, because I don't know singing, I sing really bad. So a person who doesn't know singing, who has no surtal, if that person is singing, and another devotee thinks, well, if she sings, oh, okay, I'm not going to get a taste. That means that person is focusing on some vastu, means on some tune, some rhythm. And if somebody is singing out of that rhythm, the person is not getting interest. But there is another sadhaka who is relishing the singing even of a person who doesn't know singing, who doesn't know the surtal, who doesn't know any rhythm, but still is getting some taste in singing. The person is, because that person is looking for that, that relishment in Krishna's name, doesn't focus on rhythm. So he is hungry for what? Only hearing Krishna name. But then what happens? When he is hungry of Krishna name, and if that person get to hear some wonderful singer, naturally that intense desire of touching that sweetness of Krishna's holy name will increase exponentially. First of all, the person is hungry. He's not giving dal rice, you give him chappan bhog. He'll enjoy more, isn't it? He will be happy with dal rice also. But if chappan bhog is served, if 56 preparations are being served, he will enjoy more. So when some vastu is also added, the ruchi intensifies in the heart of a sadhaka. And at that stage, there is a deep repentance in the heart of a devotee, and devotee curses his own mind. So in the stage of ruchi, the devotee thinks, oh, what I have been done now. I have been simply absorbed in acquiring wealth and made so many efforts just to focus on these material prosperity. I'm such a sinful person. I have received this precious jewel of bhakti by the mercy of my Gurudev. And what I have done, I have kept it in the closed doors of my heart and have not working on it. I'm not nurturing it properly because I am totally lost in the ocean of material enjoyment. Thus, I have wasted my life. I have wasted my life because I have showed complete laziness. In spite of getting that bhakti seed in my heart, I'm not working on it. I'm such an evil person. How will I relish this? How will I relish this sweetness? I'm so much aloof from it. I fall asleep when Bhagavad Katha goes on. I start seeing the watch when the speaker speaks, that when she's going to win. This way, the person who is on the level of ruchi starts repenting and start cursing his own mind. That is the symptom of someone who is on ruchi. Okay. I know the time is up, but we will go with last shower for today, which is sixth shower of nectar. That is realization of transcendental taste. Why? Because this combines with ruchi. And that state is known as asakti. So Nishta, ruchi, and asakti. So what is ruchi was when somebody gets taste, relishing Krishna's name, but buddhi purvakam, intentionally, with conscious effort. That is ruchi. But ruchi, in ruchi, the object is bhajan. You want to do bhajan, is inclined towards the different limbs of bhajan like Shravana and Kirtana. That is what ruchi is. But when this becomes deep, when that inclination towards Shravanam and Kirtanam becomes deep, ruchi matures and makes Bhagavan the object, then it is known as asakti. So the object changes. In ruchi, the object is about hearing, chanting, or hearing Bhagavad Katha, chanting, hearing Kirtan, doing deity worship. These are all the limbs of the devotional service. But when after doing these limbs of devotional service, when this becomes intense, it becomes deep, that now no more focus on the limbs, but on Bhagavan itself, then it is known as asakti. Asakti in a simple, clear English language means attachment. Ruchi means taste, and asakti means attachment. Attachment towards the Supreme Lord. Ruchi pertains to bhajan, whereas asakti pertains to bhajaniya, the object of bhajan, and that is our dear Sri Bhagavan. Now, in other words, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, a taste for devotional service, that means ruchi, it depends upon attachment or attraction to Bhagavan. The level of attachment we have, the level of our ruchi will increase. That means if somebody is having ruchi, will definitely have some attachment towards the Supreme Lord. Though the dependence is more on practice. Predominantly, the person who is in ruchi will have more taste in doing some devotional service, but have less of attachment. But will have some attachment, only then you can relish. If you don't have attachment to the Supreme Lord, you cannot relish the practices. So he says that taste for devotional service depends upon attachment or attraction. And attachment to Bhagavan depends on the taste of devotional service. So even in asakti, that doesn't mean the ruchi is gone. That means the ruchi has intensified more. But our attachment is towards now to the Supreme Lord. So in ruchi, the sweetness is more, the attraction is less. In asakti, attraction is more, but the sweetness also increases. You're getting the point? This is what is known as asakti. Asakti, therefore, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, is a fully ripened state of ruchi. That is what is asakti. Okay. So this is an important point. So in ruchi, the bhajan is predominant. Attachment of the Lord is not there. Right? But it doesn't mean that in asakti, ruchi for bhajan is not there. Ruchi of bhajan also increases, as well as the attachment of the Lord also increases. Because without ruchi, if the attachment of the Lord actually is nourishing the ruchi in devotion. So without ruchi in bhajan, one cannot get attachment. So when we are attached to the Lord, when we are attracted towards the Lord, when we are on the level of asakti, our ruchi also gets intensified. Okay. Another important thing is to understand that in ruchi, it was buddhi purvakam. It was a conscious effort. But in asakti, it is spontaneous. It becomes spontaneous. In ruchi, we have to consciously withdraw our senses from the sense object and then engage them into the Lord's service. But in asakti, we become absorbed in the Lord without our personal endeavor. We don't even realize when somebody was talking on mundane topic and our mind got shifted towards the Supreme Lord. Because our attraction to the Supreme Lord is great, is in asakti. It's on to the highest level. So when that asakti stage is there, the ruchi itself intensifies and there is no conscious endeavor, rather it is spontaneously happens. It happens spontaneously. Therefore, it says that at the stage of ruchi, by way of its intelligence, buddhi purvak, the sadhaka pursues these three desires. What are those three desires? Anukulya, Sauhradya, and Bhagavad Prapti. But at the stage of asakti, these three desires are inspired naturally or spontaneously. There is no conscious effort needed in the stage of asakti. Therefore, it says, Jiva Goswami, he says, he described asakti what? Ruchir abhilasha kintu buddhi purvakam asakti tu swariski swabhavikartata. That means in the stage of ruchi, the desire to attain the Lord, all the abhilashas, they are favorable to him, and the desire for affection towards him are nourished on purpose, on some motivation, on conscious effort. But in the stage of asakti, these things takes place naturally or spontaneously. So these are the different stages of bhakti that Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur mentions. But lastly, he wants to mention the last part. He means to mention about the activities of a devotee in the asakti. And he quotes various examples. He says those devotees who are on the level of asakti, those who are attracted to the Supreme Lord spontaneously, they behave like a madman. And in this regard, I want to read some few verses from Chaitanya Bhagavat, which we have already covered. I'll not read the verses as such, but we remember when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, after coming from Gaya, when he was absorbed in the mantra that his spiritual master, Srila Ishvara Puripad, gave, he started behaving like a madman. Day in and out, he was just remembering Krishna. Even when Mother Sachi would tell him, go and take bath, he will say Krishna. Even when Mother Sachi would say, come and eat prasadam, he will say Krishna. So every time what he was remembering was Krishna. And seeing the stage of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, our dear Mother Sachi, she was feeling some despondency in the heart. Why? Because all the people, all the devotees in the Navadvip, they were thinking that our Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, our Nimai Pandit has gone mad. And therefore, because Mahaprabhu will sometimes roar, sometimes be very, very sober, sometimes he'll shout, sometimes he will dance, sometimes he will cry. So seeing all these ecstasies, Sachi Mata couldn't make out. She doesn't know anything why Mahaprabhu is behaving like this. And then she thinks that Providence has taken away my husband and my sons, because first son is already gone, Vishwarup has gone, and now Nimai is behaving like this. I don't know what is happening. He sometimes becomes conscious, sometimes he faints, sometimes his mind is not stable, sometimes he cries, sometimes he laughs, he's behaving like a madman. I don't know what had happened to him. And sometimes he will sit on a branch of a tree. But all these transformations, Sachi Mata couldn't make out. And people will say, oh, your son has gone mad, Mother Sachi. So what you should do, you should tie his two legs and try to keep him inside. Or some people will say, give him green coconut to drink, that will cure his madness. And someone will say, no, you better apply some medicated ghee on his head and then bathe him and keep applying it till this disease subsides. And Mother Sachi doesn't know what to do, simply would follow the advice of all the people. But then, from nowhere, Shivas Pandit comes in. Shivas Pandit, when he comes in, he saw the Supreme Lord and he immediately offered his obeisances. And then he told Mother Sachi that all these symptoms are not the symptoms of a madman. This is a symptom of a person who is in ecstasy, who is having that asakti, who is having that attachment towards the Supreme Lord. Because recently he received that mantra and he started chanting. Naturally, that bhava of asakti, that stage of asakti erupted in the heart of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he started behaving like this. So Shivas Pandit said, this is the highest stage of devotion. What to talk about your son, Mother Sachi? Even I want this kind of madness, because this madness is towards the Supreme Lord. This is not the ordinary madness of this material world. This is the highest symptom of devotional service. And that mercy which Lord Krishna has bestowed on your son. And saying this, he embraced Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he concluded and he said, "O Mahaprabhu, today I am obliged to see you in such a condition. And please, these symptoms of devotional service that even Brahma, Shiva, they look forward to, I want all these symptoms of madness in me." So this is what Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur also says, that a person who is in this condition, he behaves like this. Kaha karo, kaha jao, kethe gela Krishna pao. Where should I go? What shall I do? Where will I find my Krishna? In this way, he goes from one stage to another. He goes from one place to another. And people, they think that he has gone mad. Some devotees will think, oh, he's so puffed up. Some will think he has some brain disease, but they are all ignorant. The real ecstasy, they don't understand. And we see this through the example of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we will stop here. And we have completed the 6 showers of Madhurya Kadambini. We are left with 2 showers more, and that is Bhav, that is Rati and Prema. So after Asakti comes Bhav and Prema. It is also been mentioned by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur that how the creeper, when it grows, then small buds start coming out. Right? And there is the hope that now these buds will bloom into a flower, and later flower will give some fruit, and that fruit can be offered to the Supreme Lord in Vrindavan. Right? This is the hope. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that this creeper, when it goes and reaches to level of asakti, then at the level of asakti, these small buds start sprouting and gives the hope of bhava and prema to come in. So we will try to cover bhava in the next session, and hopefully in another 2 sessions, we'll try to cover prema, whatever Mahaprabhu desires. This is just my plan. So hopefully next 3 or maximum 4 sessions, we will complete Madhurya Kadambini. So thank you all so much for your wonderful and kind association. Because of all of you, I'm able to relish this Madhurya Kadambini in a much deeper level. So all glories to all of you. We'll stop here. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Let's see if we have
Hare
any.
Krishna, Mataji.
Jai. Go ahead, Mata.
Yes, Preeti Vilasini Mataji, go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you so much for such a nice class. It was very meditative, but definitely a very heavy class, meaning we know, at least I can say for myself, all that you mentioned today was very applicable. All the anarthas, the rajogun, the tamogun, and how my eruptions happen in the negative sense of Rajo and Tamogun, not in the asakti eruptions. So yeah, praying, hoping someday some cleanliness, internal cleanliness kicks in. So thank you for this. It's a wake-up call, definitely.
Thank you so much, Mataji. It's not only you, but I'll situate myself also in the same boat, that all these eruptions happen because of Tamogun and Rajagun, and not, of course, because of Asakti. So again, the disclaimer is that when we are reading this Madhurya Kadambini, please, it is not to judge others, that this person is on this level, behaving like this, so maybe on this level, no. All these books, all these literatures, they are for our introspective things. Like we have to introspect ourselves, where I am and how I can progress. So please, after knowing all these stages in detail, don't have that habit of judging others, that this person is showing this symptom. We heard in the class what Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, so that person is on that level. We are no one to judge. Everybody has their own sweet speed of moving on the spiritual path. All these things, that's why it is known as Guhyam. It is confidential. This literatures, these subject matter are not supposed to be said in public, but I know we are in the like-minded Sajatiya Sangha, so we can discuss it, but it is for our own purification, where we have to judge ourselves that where I am, where I have to head to, and how the process has to be taken. So this is very important. So I want to bring this point also. But thank you, Preeti Vilasni Mataji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Kirtida, Sundari. What wonderful class. So today's subject was really very vast, and it was I was, when I was hearing, I was thinking like it was just speaking about me, like how I see others and how I think of others. So all those things, anarthas are there. So I just realized while hearing, and as you said, it is not to judge others, but it is to realize ourselves, like how, in which platform are we in, so and how I can correct myself. Thank you so much, Mataji, for bringing this Madhurya Kadambini. Though it is not to be discussed, but still, since I'm hearing here through Bhakti Sangha, I'm just getting to know like what are all are there in this Bhakti process. So we just say that there are 9 stages of Bhakti process, right? But we do not know anything in detail. But when we go inside, I'm just wondering like how much is there inside each and every shower. So, and it's really a very vast subject. And one more, and for me, I'm saying I should hear repeatedly so that I can understand it, because it's a little bit philosophical also. So for me, I have to hear it multiple times to get in-depth understanding in this. Thank you so much, Mataji, once again for getting this shower for us and blessing us with your showers also, showers of realization also. Thank you, Mataji.
From Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, not from me. Definitely, he has worked hard by commenting on this one verse of Rupa Goswami, which we take it so lightly. Atha sadhus, atha shraddha, tatha sadhu sangha. That one verse is this entire commentary of that one verse is what is Madhurya Kadambini. So yes, it's not only for you, for all of us. We should repeatedly read this book. Repeatedly, we should try to understand, because Kali Yuga Jivas, short memory, keep forgetting. So if we really want to improve ourselves, we have to ponder on these instructions. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you, Anita.
Yes, Mataji. And one question I have, in Ruchi, we were discussing like it's a transcendental taste, right? And after that, while coming to Asakti, it is spontaneous taste. It will come like that you were saying, right? So, and you were saying, I didn't understand this. Like in Asakti, that Ruchi will come. Something you were saying about that. Can you explain on that, Mataji?
The predominant thing is that we start relishing the bhajan process, whether it is hearing, chanting, or doing any other limb of devotional service. So predominantly focus is on the bhajan process. The attachment to the Lord is not predominant. What is predominant is the bhajan process. But in asakti, what happens? We focus more on the Supreme Lord. Yes, it is spontaneous, but our object is not the process of bhakti, but our object is the Supreme Lord himself. We become attracted to the Supreme Lord. But in Ruchi, what happens? The attraction is not there, or it is less. Only then Ruchi can happen, but the attraction is less towards the Supreme Lord. But in Asakti, attachment is there as well as the Ruchi also intensifies, because the taste or the relishing, the mellows of the sweetness of the Supreme Lord, it intensifies, and our attraction to the Lord also reaches to a high level. So both get intensifying. Okay, that's what I.
Okay, so how I understood, please correct me, Mataji. So I understood as Ruchi will be like our sadhana bhakti, like Vaidhi sadhana bhakti, and Asakti will be like our Raganuga bhakti, like it will come spontaneous. So is that the understanding, Mataji?
Yeah, in one sense, okay, it is spontaneous, but at the same time, the sweetness also increases.
Okay.
Not exactly Raganuga Bhakti and Vaidhi Bhakti, because once you come onto the level of Raganuga Bhakti, Vaidhi Bhakti is also there, because after all, it is sadhana bhakti level. Raganuga Bhakti is also comes under the category of sadhana bhakti only. If you see Nectar of Devotion, in Nectar of Devotion, Rupa Goswami describes three types of bhakti: sadhana bhakti, bhava bhakti, and prema bhakti. He describes only these three. Okay. In sadhana bhakti, he says that there are two things: Vaidhi bhakti and Raganuga bhakti. Vaidhi bhakti is just simply following the theoretical way of understanding the Supreme Lord or doing devotional practices. Raganuga bhakti is when you follow a ragatmika bhakta, but you don't follow whimsically. You follow with a certain rules and regulations with guidance. Okay, so that also falls under the category of sadhana bhakti only. So till ruchi also, it's a process of bhajan. Because when that bhajan is done with some conscious effort, then it is known as a sadhana bhajan. So till ruchi, it is, yes, it is our bhajan process. It is our sadhana process, because till ruchi, we are doing it consciously by putting our intelligence. But in bhava, in asakti, what happens? It immediately, spontaneously, it comes in. You don't have to put extra effort. Like example is being given, for we have to consciously make effort to remember Krishna. Whereas the gopis, okay, this example may not be 100% correct, because gopis are on the level of prema. But the gopis have to make conscious effort to forget Krishna, because they are always remembering Krishna. It's spontaneous that is happening for them. So similarly, in our case, in this case of Ruchi and Asakti, till Ruchi, it was only bhajan kriya. It was the bhajan process. But Asakti, it starts spontaneously. It's no more conscious effort, but it is spontaneous.
Okay, got it, Mataji. Thank you so much. Very, very wonderful exam. I was just laughing when you said that we have to consciously try to remember Krishna, but gopis, they consciously they want to forget Krishna. I was just laughing how much we are like I'm saying for myself.
When they were going to sell butter, what will they say? They'll not say makhan le lo. They'll say Madhav le lo, Damodar le lo. So that's how conscious they are. Their subconscious mind also, there is Madhav, there is Krishna.
Okay. So like now if you want to like for ourselves, I'm saying when we want to sit and chant, we are just taking that endeavor. Okay, now I should do. Okay, I'm doing. That's all. I have been said that I have to do. Okay, I'm doing. So then that process will be changed as we keep on chanting. That's what you were mentioning also, Mataji. Means like we will have that. We will think that okay, the Lord feels happy, so I will now sit and chant like that. Right?
Yes, conscious effort and when we do those constant efforts and gets ourselves fixed, then we'll start relishing, and then that relishment will become spontaneous. So first, yes, you have to fix like Nishta, determination. Then slowly with our buddhi have tried to get taste into it. And then when you start getting the taste into it, just like a disease, jaundice, keep on eating sugar candy. The day will come when the tongue will not be infected with the disease of jaundice and will experience the sweetness in sugar candy. We'll experience the sweetness in Krishna's holy name, and the attachment of Krishna will also go high. That is what is asakti.
Thank you so much, Mataji. It was very, very again, thank you so much. This class, actually, it was very nice. Being Ekadashi classes, I
Ekadashi, yes.
think even it was very nice, very useful in my case. Just got to know like how I am in this process of bhakti and how I should be. Thank you for getting that to understand, Mataji. Hare Krishna. So, devotees, any questions or realizations? Yes, Vinita Gandharvika Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, what a beautiful class. Thank you so much, Mataji. But after hearing everything, I get scared of doing everything, oh my God. So many anarthas, just like that, only I'm doing it. Like that, like I'm blinking my eyes, like that I'm doing anarthas, I feel, after hearing the class. I mean, so many mistakes we do, right? I feel, oh my God, how to escape. Just chant Hare Krishna Mataji all the time so that it will save us. What do you think?
The purpose is not to discourage someone in their devotional practices. The purpose is to encourage more and more in devotional practices. If we are getting discouragement after after studying Madhurya Kadambini, then the failed. Really, the real purpose is failed. Yes, it's good to understand. It's good to reflect that I have not even come to the level of Shraddha. Because Shraddha also defined as Shastriya Shraddha, and we still doubt the Shastras. So it's good to be more humble and really try to think that I'm not even on the level of Shraddha. I have to work more hard. I have to be more determined. I have to be more fixed in my sadhana. It's good to think way, but if we are thinking other way around, then the purpose is not fulfilled. This is not to discourage someone. Yes, even I was talking to somebody here, and the same thing that person says, oh, it's so discouraging after hearing your classes on Madhurya Kadambini, because that person hears from YouTube, I believe. So it's very discouraging after hearing your classes on Madhurya Kadambini that what are we doing for so many years? We have simply wasted our life. No, it has nothing been wasted. How can something in devotional service be wasted? So this is nothing to discourage, but rather making us more humbler, where we think, oh, I have developed taste in chanting. I'm non-stop, I'm chanting. I have developed taste in hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. Oh, I love Srimad Bhagavatam. I love Chaitanya Charitamrita. It's easy to say. So we have been puffed up onto that situation. Now this Madhurya Kadambini is bringing back to our original position. See yourself where you are, but don't get discouraged. Start working on it. Life has yet not finished. Start working on it. If we work on it, then the prospect is, then the hope is that we will come to on the highest level. So it's giving hope. It's a hope-giving class. It's not taking the hopes from you. Rather, bringing you back onto your original position where you are, and then start working on it. Okay, Mataji? So please don't feel discouraged. Please don't feel discouraged. This is not something discouraging us. Hope I'm not discouraging everything.
I'm not, it doesn't mean that it's discouraging, Mataji. I'm just saying how much we are doing mistakes, how to control them. That's what my point is. Not like, oh, what are we doing? It's not like that. Okay, so many unwanted mistakes we are doing, right? Which we should not be doing that. How to stop that and get to that platform that you are speaking to, like to be that stage where always thinking about Krishna, like you are giving example of Rajavasis, how they sell butter in telling their names of the Lord instead of using the butter. So it's that should be our mood, actually, how to come to that mood and leave all of this anarthas. That's what my thinking thought process is going in my heart when you are speaking all of this, how to get rid of all of this anarthas and multiple things going on in the mind. That's what, Mataji, that's what I
Yes.
was thinking.
Very true, Mataji. Very true. So it's a hope-giving class. Like the example is also given, right? Till the time we don't know what disease we are suffering to, how can we start taking pills for that? The moment we realize that I'm deceased, till the time I'm not even thinking that I am deceased, I'll be more than happy doing all my things and no worry, nothing. But the moment I realize, no, I'm deceased, I have some problem, let me look for a doctor, let me go and see a doctor. And the doctor, after so many tests, when gives us that, okay, this is the disease and these are the pills you should take, we should be happy that at least I know what my disease is. And at least I now know how to work on it. So these literatures, they tell us where you are, what disease you are inflicted to, and here's the solution, start working on it. Otherwise, we will never feel that I am diseased and we will be happy in this material world forever. And we know this happiness will lead us to nowhere. Nowhere means nowhere. These happiness are flickering happiness. This is what is Maya Jal. This Maya will give us happiness, and we start thinking, oh, I deserve this. I deserve these enjoyments. I deserve these happiness. Not realizing that they are bonding us more into this world, into this material world, where we are supposed to go out. If a prisoner start feeling happy in the jail, he will never make any endeavor to come out of it. He will be happy in that jail, having 2-3 times of meal and getting the comfort. But the prisoner who thinks that I'm not happy in the prison house will make several attempts to go out of it. But the prisoner should feel in that way. We are those prisoners who are feeling happy in this material world. Array, this world is sukhalaya. Who says this is dukkhalaya? I'm having all the sukh. I'm enjoying. Okay, that's another perspective of seeing this world as sukhalaya. Like Prabodhananda Saraswati also thinks that this world is sukhalaya because this gives us the opportunity to chant Krishna's name and come closer to Krishna. But are we thinking in that way? No. With flickering happiness, we think this world is sukhalayam. And we defy this fact that no, this world is dukkhalayam, because we are happy. And the more happy we are, the more Maya is happy, because she has done her job. She has won over us. She has won over us. That's her job. So better not to feel elated in happiness and not to feel sorrow in distress. That is what the sages, that's what Bhagavad Gita teaches us. How we have to be equipoised in both the situation, not be affected with happiness and not be affected with sufferings. But I'm sorry, this is all something.
Thank you, Mansi. Thank you so much. So I was thinking like we have to understand that this is never get scared to go to the hospital to check what's your problem. You need to know you are in problem and don't feel that, oh, nothing symptoms are there. I'm enjoying, I'm happy, but you need to go check and you correct yourself and be happy. Even though this is like the kalayam, but when we go and reach out to the right person, then they will treat us properly, and so that this dukkhalayam can be also be the eternal blissful for devotees living in this material world. Yes, Mataji, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Ethan.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Shanti Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Hari Hari. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Mataji, you realized very nicely and beautifully and in the deep. So I can understand. I don't say about anybody, but I can understand and I can uplift myself more and more. You are coming from the upper planet. I can say that you are some advanced devotee, Mataji. So many lessons and so many Anarthas I can see sometimes so much. So better I hear from you, your lotus mouth, and I can uplift myself, Mataji.
All these doesn't apply to me. Real life is totally different from real life. Please don't be allured with all the real life of devotees that we see. Go into the life and then imagine. All these classes are not to judge a person, not to say that a person.
Yes, Mataji. I know,
No.
but it is very nice to understand ourselves, our position where we are. So it's very nice, eye-opening.
Time this disclaimer has to be understood. If you are able to understand what I am saying, that doesn't mean
Yeah.
that I have that eligibility to make you understand. It's your sincerity only, and I'm speaking the words exactly
Yeah,
of Vishwanath
Mataji.
Thakur
Yeah.
without even digesting myself.
But Mataji, I have so much respect on you, Mataji. And I like the sugarcane candies example that the jaundice people, they just eat the sugarcane. It's like a bitter, but still it's going and going. They eat and eat more. Similarly, if we chant more and more and more, then we get taste and we can do and we can see more. Because the anarthas are so subtle, nobody can understand, oh, I am doing this one, I am doing this one. So it's very nice, Mataji, to understand everything in deep, Mataji. Very. Thank you so much, Mataji.
Thank you so much. If my effort, endeavor helps you in any way,
Yeah,
to my Guru Maharaj.
very
And
nice.
thank you so much, Mataji. But again, don't think that I am on such a high level. No, Mataji. With
No,
that,
Mataji, but still, sometimes, you, Priti Vilasini Mataji, and Adi Gadadhar Prabhu, Amrendra Prabhu, all of them, I just feel like that, my inside.
yes,
And the other all Matajis also.
all practicing what they talk, but definitely the examples that you gave and you are equating them with them, me with them, is not true, Mataji, because I'm not on that level. They are all walking their talk, but I'm very far, far, far away from all of these exalted devotees. I've just started my journey, and I already told that this Madhurya Kadambini I'm reading with all of you, trying to understand with all of you, considering all of you as a like-minded devotees, and having this audacity to share all these things to you.
Mataji, keep in your prayers.
Definitely, Mataji, we all will pray for each other. Definitely,
Thank you
definitely.
so much. So grateful to you, Mataji.
Okay, it's already 49. Yes, Preeti Vilasni Mataji, maybe you can end up.
Sure. Thank you, dear devotees. Thank you for joining us and giving us your most valuable association. If Shivani Mataji gives permission, we can end the call here. Vanchakalpatarubhyaścha kripa sindhubhya patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavi. I mean, Anita Mataji, not
Namo
Shivani.
Namaha.
Namo Namaha, sorry. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai,
Ki
Shri
jai.
ki jai. All
Ki
glories to all
jai.
the assembled devotees and our Kirtida Sundari Mataji ki
Ki
jai.
jai.
Jai, Jai.